Hello, and welcome back to Crunchy Mom and Doubting Dad, episode 48.
Yes. Pushing 50.
Pushing 50. I know, crazy, right?
Just like so many of our listeners out there. Oh, I'm joking.
Wow.
It is one of the higher demographics, though. But I'm also in the same demographic.
That was kind of mean. Jeff and I have spent the last hour and a half figuring out how to do this split screen here for YouTube, so that's been fun.
Yeah.
If you saw our setup, because we're not tech savvy at all, you would laugh. The phone, thank God for new phones and the magnetic, pop sockets now that they have?
Yep.
It's literally stuck to one of Jeff's chessboards. That's magnetic, and it's propped up with chocolate
Three boxes
and
of chocolate and a centerpiece that you have.
Yeah. I should take a picture of this and post it on
If you would have made a top
Doubting
10
Dad.
list of shit Jeff will never buy in his life, in the top 3 would have been a selfie stick, but yet that is on order for delivery tomorrow. So, but it's a tripod first that changes into a selfie stick. That's how I'm telling myself it's okay to buy it. But yeah.
Yes, and this new setup has been hard for Jeff as well, because we realized that when we started recording, I'm like, oh my gosh, the camera's facing me, so I'm in charge, right? And I'm like, oh, you don't get to do the countdown anymore, it's me.
My 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then when I pushed record, it didn't have a countdown. I'm like, oh, well, we're starting this one over because we just completely messed it up and it wasn't worth showing y'all. So anyway, new things for us, learning how to be tech savvy. Should be interesting.
We're doing our best, though. It's coming together.
Sort of. We're trying. Anyway, we have been horrible at being consistent, and it's been driving me crazy and giving me a little bit of anxiety, because we talk all day long still about everything we want to talk about, and life just hasn't given us a minute to sit down and record. But things are calming down. Lucas and Jeff had camp this last week, and things have just been busy with the start of school and football starting, which I am all for, because fall is my favorite season, and I'm so excited that football is back on TV.
That we're missing to do these podcasts.
I know, right?
The sacrifices we make.
But today, I wanted to talk about anxiety.
Like the episode you had while setting up this tripod thing here with the chessboard and the chocolate boxes.
Yeah, once it finally...
The 7 times you were like, that's it, I'm done, I'm never doing this again.
I did. I'm like, okay, I never thought that getting set up for a podcast was going to give me a panic attack, but it absolutely did. My heart was racing. I'm like, okay, I'm over it. Like, can we just have this work, please?
Well, you're here. Let's talk about anxiety, Katie.
I know a lot of people have different views on anxiety. I think mine is definitely different from what others think they need or what they should or should not do. I was up this morning, and I knew that Jeff and I were going to be doing some podcasts, and I was like, well, I know we talked about Botox and how bad that is for you, and breast implants, and how that is like one of the worst decisions a woman can make for her body. And I thought those are going to be great topics and probably a little bit longer podcasts. But when I was walking around and cleaning, doing dishes while the boys were waking up and Jeff was still sleeping, I just felt like the Lord was like, no, talk about anxiety today. So I told Jeff when we were discussing and getting ready for this, I said, I really want to hit the hard topic of anxiety. And he was like, all right, let's do it. So I have to start out by saying I do not believe, I know that when you're in the believer realm and you know who Jesus is, you have some pastors that take the hard stance of, well, you just need to pray about it. I know there are people in the church that are like, oh, you just need to pray about it. What's your problem? Like, surrender to the Lord and give it to God. And I agree and disagree with what the church says about anxiety. 100% always go to the Lord first. I think that's a problem that a lot of people don't go to. They don't think like, oh, I do need to pray about this. But I think the first step when people are realizing that they're having panic attacks and that they're riddled with anxiety is, oh, I need to go to the doctor, right?
Like that's what I did. I had a panic attack, but it was because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Well,
so
that's
true.
true.
Why I went to That's why I went to the emergency room. Found out I didn't have a heart attack. I had a panic attack, which is so weird because I wasn't panicked about anything. But I was on a plane. I hate flying. But it's not even the fear of like plummeting to your death. It's the fear of being stuck in an aluminum tube with like 200 other sick, nasty people. And I have no control over when I get off of this ride. And it's a complete control thing. I guess I'm a control freak because I like to be in control of my travel. If I want to pull over and pee on the side of the road, I will drive all the way across this country before I get on a plane. But it was pretty bad though.
I know.
I don't know if we've told that story in a podcast or not.
We have not.
It was when I was flying to Chicago all the time.
Are we telling it now? Or do you...
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
It's about anxiety.
It is.
All right, jeez.
Go ahead.
She's shooting me looks, guys. You wouldn't be... Oh, no, they can't see it now.
They can see it now. We're on the split screen.
Yeah.
You better watch your facial expressions.
Roll check. So, anyway, but yeah, I was selling stuff into Ace a lot, and I was repping some different products, and it was just back and forth, just a busy time. It wasn't even a stressful time, I didn't think. And yeah, I got on a plane, and it was like super early, like first flight out. We had like a meeting at like 9 or something. It was like 5 in the morning, or like 4:30. It was stupid early though. It was like when nobody's at the airport, and everything was fine. I was making some phone calls, sending some emails, double checking everything. Comes time to board the plane, everything's fine. I grabbed some Wendy's at the thing, little potato little hash browns I have. Like I really like those. So I'm like, everything's fine. So get on the plane, no big deal. I get my seat. I got a window seat because nobody likes the middle, but. So I'm sitting there and everything's just normal, and all of a sudden I just start like getting these waves of like, I don't know, imbalance or something. I don't know. It wasn't like nauseous, but it was like I was like, something's going on and I don't know what's going on. And then my breathing started to change, and I was like, I just knew I had to get up. And I'm a fairly polite person, but I was like, I'm getting out. And the person in the middle and the person in the aisle are just like looking at me, and I'm like, I'm getting out. Like this is like maybe 45 minutes into the flight, like we've reached altitude, we're cruising, right? The drink cart ladies are coming down, and I'm like, I'm getting out, and they just looked at me, and I'm like, I'm getting out, and then they're like, and I stand up, push into the person in the middle seat, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here, like you're not, you know what I mean? So next thing you know, I remember everybody was like freaking out and pushing away from me. And I went freaking down, like a sack of potatoes across all 3 seats, the armrests, everything. I was down. And then I remember the stewardess came over, flight attendant, came over, and she was helping me, and I was almost like in and out of consciousness. I was like out of it. And she gets my head back in my seat and my feet out in the aisle. And like I said, there's nobody around me. I'm like looking at a couple of heads coming up over, like seeing what's going on. And then they were asking if there was any doctors or nurses, and so there was 2 nurses on that flight, and they both came over. And then one of the last things I remember hearing, like I remember one of them coming to me, and then she was like, I can't feel a pulse on this guy. I can't get a pulse on this guy. And I was like, yep, that's it. I'm checking out. Like that. This is how I die at 30,000 feet on my way to Chicago. I'm a goner. And yeah, it was scary though. I was like, I really thought I was dying. Like I had it's like I had no control over my body, my breathing. I mean, I couldn't tell you if I had a pulse or not, but obviously like a nurse couldn't even find a pulse on me. So obviously like my blood pressure must have just like plummeted. And anyway, so that was it. And then, I started to come to a little bit, and they were helping me. The other nurse was there, and they were just checking my pulse and rubbing my arm and like talking to me. And so I finally started to come back out of it, and they got me like a juice. I think maybe they thought I had a low blood sugar or something. Again, I wasn't really talking or anything to them. I wasn't able to. And so like they're giving me, I'm drinking on like an orange juice, and the flight attendant was like, you got to tell me if we need to turn around. You got to tell me if we need to turn around. And so the nurses are like between her and me, like, hold on, just let me like talk to him and see what's going on. And so I kind of told them what I felt and what was happening, and they were like, do you feel okay now? And I'm like, yeah, actually I feel like a lot better, and blah, blah, blah. Like I came right back out of it, maybe like 5 minutes altogether, 3 minutes altogether. And yeah, but that was it. And then they were like, you got to go get checked out at the hospital. And I'm like, okay. So I went, and I guess they can check for certain whatever in your blood, right? Like types of blood cells or something, or some type of a marker that tells you if you had a heart attack or not. Didn't have any of those. Hooked me up to an EKG, and that was it. They're like, no, we think you had a panic attack. And I'm like, what the heck would I have a panic attack? Like, it's still foreign to me because I don't know of anybody else that's had a panic attack, like physically shut them down like that, but I did, and I see why, like on TV shows, again, I don't know anyone in person, but I see why people rush to the hospital, because you really do. You think that, I mean, you're going down. You just feel like you're having a heart attack. Like, your chest tightens up. You can't really breathe right. I mean, it's a really weird feeling. Like I said, it's like just a total imbalance. Like, your whole body isn't yours anymore. It's really weird. But, yeah, I did. I'm anxiety riddled 24/7 though. I just think that's who I am. I constantly think about stuff, and then I overthink about stuff, and then I overthink about the stuff that I had to think about to overthink stuff, and then that's just how I go. A lot of my insomnia was all in my head, and I would count blocks, and then I would count subsections of those blocks, and then I would count subsections of those blocks, and then they would form a shape, and then I would count that shape, and then I mean, like, just weird stuff, and I'd have random numbers in my head all the time, and I'd count by certain amounts of numbers or whatever, and then, like, I don't know, it was just, I really struggle with a lot of stuff mentally, I think, more than I admit to you or people in general. Like, I don't think I'm crazy or anything, but, and I also don't think I'm alone, but I think that there's a lot of people out there that struggle with their head messing with them, and I think that's a huge part of health. I've always said it, man. Like, you want to invest in something to be 108 years old, smoke a cigar every day, eat bacon every day for breakfast, and have a Dr. Pepper, because I'm pretty sure the last 3 interviews I've seen with people over 105, what's your secret? It's Dr. Pepper, bacon, and cigars. So, but what do those things give you? What is it if you have a Dr. Pepper every day? Like, I love a Pepsi or a cherry Pepsi, or since we moved to the South, a cherry Pepsi for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Been in the mood for cherry Pepsi since we moved down here. Never bought cherry Pepsi when we lived in the Northwest. But my point is that what do, like, all of those things have in common? I'm asking you. You're on the podcast. But what do they have in common in my brain? Is that I'm sitting down and having breakfast every day. I'm taking the time to make bacon, right? I mean, we get the Costco stuff every once in a while where it's just throw it in the microwave for a minute. But the point is that shows me that person sat down and had a breakfast every day. What about the guy with a cigar? That means at some point in his effed up life of working a blue-collar job and busting his ass and back pains and aches and all this stuff that he suffered with, he found time every single day to sit down with a cigar. And he relaxed.
Oh, yeah, there you go, relaxed.
And what about the Dr. Pepper?
It's
the treat. She found time every day to have a Dr. Pepper, and that's what she enjoyed to do.
Well,
and I think that a lot of us get so wrapped up in the rat race of crap, and we don't ever stop and do something that we enjoy, even if by definition it's bad for you.
Well, the thing is that these people that are 100 years old and older, they were eating and drinking stuff that wasn't bad. Now it's bad. It's all crap food, and they've put other poisons into it, so it's not good for us now. But the part of taking time to relax, finding something for yourself, and taking time to breathe is what you just said. I think that's what it is. So
still haven't met a 108-year-old that said I meditated every day, though. So I think there's something.
Well, I don't meditate every day, but I pray every day.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't know.
But my point for dealing with anxiety, because when we were in Hawkinson, there's the Hawkinson story. If you're just joining us recently, go back and listen to that podcast on Spotify where we talk, I think it's 3 episodes, about living in Hawkinson. That was the first time I ever experienced, to my knowledge or acknowledging it, that I had anxiety. And they put me on a super low dose of a pill to help me calm down when we were dealing with the psychopaths in Hawkinson up on the hill. And I was working at the butcher shop at that point, and I asked them, I'm like, is it okay if I take this if I start to have a panic attack? And the owner, Peter, was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, take care of yourself, right? Like, it's not going to make you drowsy or anything. I said, no, it's just going to mellow me out. And after like 1 or 2 times of me having to take a small, like half a pill, they were like, we don't like you on that. And I'm like, why? What's it doing? They're like, it mellows you out to the point where you're not you. Like, Peter and Chris was our head butcher at the time, were like, you are not smiling. You're just like walking around like you're in a haze. And I didn't think about it then, but now that we've gone down the holistic hole of natural healing, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that pill did more than just like get rid of the anxiety. It completely changed my personality, and my coworkers and my boss told me, we don't like that. Like, you're not you. So for me, yes, number one, go to the Lord with it first. But I think we need to be very vigilant in what we're putting in our bodies. So everything we've talked about up until this point, I mean, the lotions that we use, the food that we're eating, the body washes that you've used since you were a little girl because, oh my gosh, Bed Bath and, what is it? Not Bed Bath and Beyond. Nope, that's the
Bath and Body Works?
Bath and Body Works,
Why
thank
would
you.
I know this over you?
I don't know.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever said.
Bath and Body
Other
Works,
people.
Victoria's Secret, like all of these things that are marketed to young girls because you need to smell good. And as my husband
Oh my
would
gosh,
say,
yes. Women need to smell good.
well, what's the phrase you always used?
For what?
For me, using Victoria's Secret, champagne and strawberries. We did a podcast on that too.
I don't know what you're getting at. I'm completely lost.
You always-
Look at my face. I have no idea what you're
You always
putting
told me
on
I
the
needed
spot.
to smell like a stripper.
Yes.
There you
thank
go. My
Yes.
goodness.
My gosh, strippers smell good.
So,
I dated one or two.
so,
Go ahead. Make
so
fun.
I like these things we put on and in our bodies daily, and they are known endocrine disruptors. They disrupt your hormones. They have parabens and phthalates and fragrance in them, and these are all known carcinogens. These are poisons that they are putting into these products that we use every single day. So when I was thinking about it this last week, and then when the Lord put it on my heart to talk about anxiety today, what happens if we were to take all of the crap garbage products and we detox from them, and we started filling our bodies with stuff that is safe, that doesn't have an overload of toxins, and our bodies were able to function the way they need to? When you are using a shampoo that is toxic and has tons of chemicals in it, because let's be realistic, they're filled with crap chemicals.
Get rid of my flakes, Katie.
Well,
Get
you
rid
use
of
a
my
dish
flakes.
soap now. You don't use Head
I
and
actually do
Shoulders
use
anymore.
dish soap. If you do have, I wouldn't never say I had like dandruff. My issue is that it doesn't wash out of my hair. Like literally, I have no product in my hair. If I wear a hat, my hair will just stick up. It's just I just have super thick hair, and I feel like if I don't have the right shampoo, it doesn't rinse out all the way. Even if I just scrub my head forever, and then it'll end up like flaking and falling out. Like I don't know, but yeah, the dish soap. Thieves dish soap, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Young Living dish soap. That's what I use for.
I
my
mix it with
shampoo.
water, and that's what he uses for the shampoo, and he hasn't had an issue with dandruff. But again, that
Rinses out real nice.
proves my point as well that these things that say help with dandruff, that help with dry skin, they're not helping. I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but they actually put a chemical into lotions that actually dries your skin out so that you have to keep buying the lotion. Like, this is the constant cycle that we're in of being marketed shit products. Like, sorry to be super blunt, but that's what it is. So
I read.
when
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was just going to say on the marketing thing, I read something interesting this morning. I can't remember the gentleman's name, and I could pull it up, but we're using my phone. But he is the guy that literally invented the phrase that breakfast is the most
important meal of the day.
important meal of the day. Yes, he's the one that coined that, and he coined it to actually start selling more meat products, specifically bacon and pork.
Which is what your body needs. Your brain
Well,
has to function on that,
this
not
is like-
Pop-Tarts and
This
toaster
is
strudels.
70, 80 years ago, this guy came out with this campaign, right? I mean, probably pushing 100 years, this guy came out with a marketing campaign, and literally everybody, even Jackson at 12 years old in modern day 2024 America, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Everybody believes it. And it was marketed to you. It's not. Steady meals throughout the day, arguably 3, some people up to 6. I'm a grazer. I like just eating things throughout the day. I don't always choose that. Like, that's what's hard because I don't choose the best options.
No, you
because
don't.
I don't want a lot of something. I don't eat. You know what I mean? Like, we just went to camp with the boys, and one of the complaints that one of the moms said when their husband went with their kid a couple years ago or whatever was like, there's no quantities of food. Like, they serve you like you're a 10-year-old child, and they do. I got this much eggs and a sausage patty and a thing. I'm not a big breakfast eater though, and I'm not a big meal eater, so I honestly thought the portions were fine. I had a peanut butter and
Did
jelly
you
sandwich.
really?
Yeah, they had fish the last day, which is disgusting. So I was like, I'll just take peanut butter and jelly, and they just give you 2 pieces of bread, and they have peanut butter and jelly out like on the little island or whatever for condiments. So I just made my own peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But my point is, I was actually content there. I was like, well, I got meals served to me, so I didn't have to work for them. And they had a little side salad. I had a side salad with every meal, and whatever they served a 10-year-old. And quite honestly, I wasn't that hungry. So, but I'm not a big meal eater. But at night, it was a half a thing of Pringles because I got all the kids all these snacks, a couple bags of Gushers. But I carb load at night. Like, I get all my calories at night. I can go all day without eating. Doesn't bug me at all. I can skip breakfast, lunch. But anyway, but my point
But
is...
he's a bear at the end of the night when he comes home. Don't let him lie to you. He's like, I'm so hungry. I need to eat now or I'm going to lose my, He's not that bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but still.
Maybe just a little bit. But
You do get hangry, though.
at night because I've starved myself all day and a man wants damn meat. No, I'm just joking. Katie's biggest complaint is that I don't wait for my meal. So last night I had a snack.
I was so angry at him. I literally
I don't even remember what
made one of my favorite crock pot meals that they devour. They love it. Pasta, chicken, Alfredo, and marinara sauce all mixed in together in the crock pot. And they're like Jackson's getting Oreos out because Jeff brought that back from camp. I'm like, great, thank you for bringing that garbage into my house.
Didn't have to make a breakfast this morning.
Just saying. And then he grabs the Pringles and a snack pack, and I'm like, I swear that you all are going to be eating dinner tonight. I don't care if you get sick shoving it down your throats. Like, stop eating the crap food. I've made a meal so that we could eat as a family. And they looked at me horrified, ooh, Mom's pissed. I'm like, yes, I am pissed. Stop shoving food down your throat. I want you to eat dinner.
Well, it's frustrating from the male perspective. If you work all day and you burn a lot of calories and you come home and you are hungry, and then your wife's like, I just found this new recipe at 5:30 and I have to run to the store 3 times and I should have it done by 6. I'm like, first off, you're lying out your ass. There's no way this meal is going to be prepared in a half hour, and you're right, but she insists that you're wrong because you have male genitalia. And then you just go round and round and you watch 6:30, 7, 7:15, starting to look around at the boys. Maybe you should just shower now and we'll eat after showers so we don't have to, you know what I mean? That is very frustrating.
Are you done?
No. I'm just getting started, actually. I'll be done for the sake of the podcast.
Can we get back to anxiety?
Very frustrating. That causes me anxiety. And if you would not... I appreciate and love that you cook good, healthy meals for your family. But if we could just find 3 or 4 of them throughout the week to just put on repeat, that would be fine. I've told you forever, I would be so happy.
They say that, but then they don't eat the leftovers.
Meatloaf Tuesdays and whatever Thursdays. I'm totally fine with that lifestyle.
Then I get it's too hot outside and I don't want to eat.
Oh my gosh. Well, but that's just common sense. It's 115 and literally no other construction worker in town is working except for my husband, who comes home and looks like I jumped in a swimming pool. I have sweated gallons of sweat. And then she comes home and she's like, garlic bread and some spaghetti. How's that sound? Huh? You want some thick old freaking 3-day-old dumplings to put on top of that and a couple of bits? I don't want something that heavy when it's that hot. That's common sense.
So basically, we've gotten to the root cause of Jeff's anxiety. It's
meal-based anxiety.
It's me.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, back to the anxiety
Marriage
episode
is just
here.
A roller coaster of anxiety.
Is it now?
Yeah, but in the best way. In the most loving, wow.
Okay, anyway.
I'm so anxious to love you more.
Back. I'm going to hurt you. Back to the topic, because Jeff went on a marketing rant that turned into bashing me making food.
I'm just saying, that's how deep the marketing goes. You don't even know it's marketing half the time.
Anyway, when you're thinking about all these products that we're using, even down to your laundry detergent, because that's being absorbed into your skin and disrupting all of the systems that God created to work in perfect unity to help your body detox heavy toxins and just everything that we've talked about over the last couple of months, to even your dishwashing soap. I know I thought someone was crazy when they brought it up to me, but you're literally washing your dishes, your cups, your utensils in toxic chemicals like Cascade, like Dawn, which leaves a residue on your plates. And now you're putting your food on said plates and bowls and you're eating off of that, and your food is absorbing that too. So now you're putting even more toxins into your body. And
you got to think about how impressive that those toxins are, those chemicals are, right? If you have just a plate, right, that's been glazed or whatever that is, you know, like a porcelain finish or whatever it is that they use. But when they glaze that and fire it for the last time and then put it in a box, you bring it home, you wash it, right? You put spaghetti on it, you put all this other stuff on there, it starts to stain it, it starts to get a little dull. They literally are taking a chemical and they are putting that down as a layer over the top of that so that food stuff and everything doesn't stick to it so that it shines bright. Like, this is stuff that won't dent glass, like even glass cookware. Like glass. Like a super hard, smooth surface glass that gets stained. This stuff is like, oh no, nothing will even stick to it. That's kind of worrisome. Like, I don't know if I want a chemical that's strong enough to, like, super freaking slick up glass to where nothing will even stick to it or stain it.
No, I agree. And that's why, like, I thought my friend was crazy when she told me you even have to watch the dish soap that you're using. And we use Thieves dish soap for just washing dishes in the sink.
And your hair.
What?
And my hair.
And your hair. And I use, I tried a new dish soap for the dishwasher, and I'm loving it. And a friend recommended it, and it's truly free. And it is my new favorite dishwashing soap. I honestly am tempted to try the laundry because my same friend is like, oh my gosh, the laundry soap is incredible too. And Jeff's complaint, and even the boys' complaint with the Thieves, and I've noticed it too, is that I don't feel like, and maybe I'm mixing it wrong, and to each his own, but I have boys and I just feel like they keep getting dirtier and messier. And I feel like it's not doing what it needs to do for my laundry. So I've asked this friend, like, hey, do you like the laundry soap? She's like, oh my gosh, it's the cleanest our clothes have ever been, and it's safe, and I love it. So that might be something that I try when we run out of the Thieves, just to see if I like it, how the clothes are turning out. But when you take everything that we've talked about, all these different products and what it's doing to your body, it is really, really hard to not have anxiety, in my opinion, when your body can't process anything. So everything in these products that are chemical based, that are known carcinogens, it's a proven fact that they're disrupting all of these different systems in your body. So of course your body is going to go into flight or fight mode. Of course your body is not going to have its lymphatic system working to detox your body and make sure that you're getting rid of the toxins that it needs to, because you're constantly overloading it every single day, 24 hours a day. Another thing that I just thought about too, that we've completely gotten rid of in our house that I haven't had in 7 years now, candles. That is a known carcinogen, and you are literally just saying, hey body, I'm gonna light 6 different candles in my house because it smells good, and let's see how you do with that. Like, you're breathing this crap in, and it's so bad for you that of course your body isn't gonna function right, and it's gonna go into these different states of panic mode. And to me, that correlates to anxiety that so many people deal with. And when I started seeing my naturopath here in Sulphur, and she got my body back to where it needed to be. So my mineral levels were where they needed to be. I was not getting sick like I was before. We dealt with my Lyme disease. Like, that's a whole nother story that we haven't talked about. I realized in this last couple of months, now that my body's doing what it needs to do, don't even try to kill that fly right now while we're on the air.
You just hold on.
Oh, for crying out loud, here we go.
Hey, you gotta plug your crap. I'm gonna plug mine.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Keep going.
I realized that once my body was back into the systems that it needed to be doing, and my body was doing what it needed to do, I had less anxiety. And when I had an anxiety flare up, my naturopath looked at me and said, you are healthy. Your body is functioning the way it needs to. Your lymphatic system's moving the way it needs to. Everything is where it should be. And she looked at me and said, have you prayed about this? And I thought, oh my gosh, no, I haven't been praying about it. And she's like, you need to have conversations. Like, when you feel yourself going into a panic state, you need to tell Jeff that. And I hold everything in. I don't like talking about things. And
Holy crap, this has been you holding it in for 13 years? It's so funny because you talk a lot. I love talking to you, Katie. That's why we're doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I also make fun of you a lot.
He might be sleeping on the couch tonight. I'm not going to lie.
I want to get this bug out of
Don't you shoot me.
I won't shoot you. It says right on the packaging of the Bug Assault Rifle. Not a sponsor. I wish.
He loves this thing.
It shoots household salt. And it kills almost anything.
So,
Scorpion even the other night, man. I stabbed him with the end of this thing. And I thought, oh man, like he's pissed off, and I haven't killed him or really hurt him. I've just made him mad. And then he was getting all like kind of squirrely, like he's going to get out of it. And I'm like, dude, I'm just going to pull the trigger, see what happens. Splatter, like Predator style, just annihilated him. Bug assault. That's BUG-A-salt. Bug assault.
SALT.
SALT. Well, yeah, I thought that was.
So anyway, I would just want to encourage you all that if you are someone that struggles with anxiety, like both Jeff and I do, because it's not something that has gone away for either of us. It's just something that we have learned to manage better with taking care of ourselves. But I think one, like I said earlier, always go to the Lord in prayer about it first and talk to him about it. Like before Jeff interrupted me with the stupid bug assault rifle, we had a conversation shortly after my naturopath was like, go home and talk to Jeff about it. And I don't know why I was nervous to talk to my husband about it, because we always talk about stuff, but there was this fear in my mind of, oh, he's going to make fun of me. He's just going to tell me to get over it, that I need to, suck it up, buttercup, and move on with it. But we had
a normal checklist, yes.
I know, right?
No, I'm just joking.
But we had a really great conversation, and I was so grateful for that conversation. And now when I feel my heart rate just start to rise and my head is just spinning, I look at him and I'm like, I can't calm down. Like I'm having a panic attack. And without skipping a beat, he just asked me, like, what are you worried about? What's bothering you? And I take a breath and then I just unleash everything. Like, I'm worried about this week. I'm worried about work. I'm worried about this, that, or the other. And I have found a way that when he asks me that, I'm letting it go and I'm releasing it. And then I can physically feel my heart rate come down and I feel better about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I can go on with the day. And then that also is just prayer throughout the day too. And those attacks are less and less and less. One, because I am praying about it diligently. And two, I really do believe it's because we've changed so much in our household with the overload of toxins, because we're not perfect. And like Jeff said, he bought all that crap food for camp for the kids, and we still bring bad chips and frozen food that's over processed into our house too, because I'm not fully like at home to make homemade stuff all the time. But I think the little steps that we've made have helped us get to a better point health wise.
Yeah, but it goes to all things in moderation as well. I mean, we do bring stuff in the house, but like we get, like mozzarella sticks, maybe, 2 boxes of those a year from Costco or something. I mean, you can't find organic mozzarella sticks.
No.
At least I haven't found them. But
unless we made them ourselves.
Oh my gosh, who has time for that? But yeah, I mean, and that gets into the whole air fryer thing. I mean, air fryers are like super bad for you. That's a whole nother thing.
I know.
We still use our air fryer, so if you're like judging your health off of where we're at in life, we still use ours. Not as much as we used to, but like it's the same thing as like vapes, right? It's not like, oh, the oil, it's just vapor, it's just, whatever.
Have
it's
fun
just
with
steam.
that popcorn lung.
Yeah, it's not bad for you. And it's like, well, no, and necessarily maybe that's not bad for you. I mean, I have Nicorette in my mouth. I think nicotine is a super drug in my opinion. But anyway, it's like the filaments that heat up, right? And you got some cheap Chinese steel that's mixed with who knows what, that they're just pumping these things out for a tenth of a penny a piece, and they don't care how they're made or what's in them. All they have to do is heat up, glow, and you know what I mean, and steam off water or whatever liquid is in the vape. And then like I guess that's kind of the thing. Well, we'll get into it later, but the point is like it's not good. I mean, we could go into plastic cutting boards and get you all sorts of stats on that. We all know, men, where that ends up in your testes. So try to avoid plastics. And then the aluminum foil is like the recent one that I read about, and I was like, holy crap. Like if you cook with it, you line your pot because you don't want to soak it overnight or whatever. Like that's what I'd constantly use tinfoil to cook with, because it's easy. Like you lose a little bit of cheese that gets stuck on it, but like cooking with it, the amount of actual like heavy metals and like aluminum and all that stuff that's in it, because it's not technically all aluminum. Aluminum is expensive, but or it ain't tin either, but all those metals are getting expensive, so they're coming out with other ways of manufacturing this stuff. So yeah, there's just some scary stuff out there.
Well, and we can finish with this story because it kind of plays into a little bit of all of it. But we finally set Jackson up to see my naturopath this month, And both Jeff and I are excited about it. We want to do a heavy metal detox on him. We just want him to be scanned for parasites and just everything.
I'm excited to see if he actually remembers stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited to see if there's actually a change. Behavior-wise, he's like average 12 going on 13 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, so I think he's like right where he should be as far as like, oh, I'm going to see how far I can piss my mom and dad off type of thing, right? It's like terrible twos in a big body. But I want to see if it actually does clear up some of his brain fog. But I think, again, it goes back to like what we talked about in previous podcasts where it's like, if you asked me on the day I died how I felt, I'd tell you I was fine, right? Like, remember that when we talked about that? And I really think that there is this, you kind of just get into feeling how you feel, and you don't know how bad it is. You don't know how tired you actually are. You don't know how sick you actually are. You don't know how much stuff your body is putting up with and trying to process and trying to naturally detox you from, like, you know what I mean, like getting it flushed out of your body. And you just feel that this is I hate to use the term, but the new normal, right? Like, this is how I feel, and you don't realize how bad it actually is. And I wonder sometimes if that's not the case with some of I'm not going to say all, because I think a lot of it is psychological, and I know we don't have time to get into that now, but I know that what you're saying is true, that the stuff that we put into our body it puts your body into this fight or flight mode to where it's trying to survive. You know what I mean? You're putting all these millions of little things that you're not even aware of in your body, and then it's trying to fight it off, and that just it creates this stress environment. It messes with your brain and how you're thinking, but I also think there's a psychological effect to it. But anyway, long story short, I want to see if we actually started detoxing Jackson, if he even has heavy metals in him or whatever, but if we started to detox from that, would it get rid of that fog that we just all say as parents now, where it's like, oh, he's 12-year-old, they're always so forgetful, or you know what I mean?
Makes you wonder.
Well, there's just like these things that are societal norms, and my question has always been for a long time, are they norms? Are they? Because I look back on my life and I'm like, I don't think I forgot that much stuff. Like, I remember being a kid and I packed my own clothes, like, and I'd lay my clothes out for school the next day, you know, like I was like, I was highly, and it's like, oh, I have OCD or ADHD or what, I don't know, but it's like, I remember being more in a process of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I had consequential thinking, whatever it is, right? Like, if I do this now, I don't have to worry about that later, and if I do this and I organize this and I lay that out. So I just don't know, you know, so I want to see what happens. That's where my excitement comes in for him, because I'm like, dude, if you could actually see a change, that'd be pretty cool.
And there's Lucas in the camera.
At least he's in his underwear. Well, I mean, it's Saturday morning, Mom. Take a little.
Anyway, my other point in that is Jackson dealt with major anxiety when we first moved out here, and we talked to our kids pastor about it.
That would be arguably psychological, though.
I agree, but I'm just putting, like, there are big things that you go through in life, and I think that if you don't deal with them, then you also get anxiety as well. But we had a great group of fifth grade teachers for him. Lucas is being taught by two of those women now, and I was bummed when the two left the fifth grade group because Lucas doesn't get them this year. But those women prayed over our son in school. Like, it was incredible, and just the amount of prayer that we did. Even our kids pastor was like, do you guys pray with him when he starts to like pace in the house and he starts to have these panic attacks? And Jeff told him, like, no, we haven't done that yet. And we did that, and that really helped him too. And we just really took like an effort to making sure that he was covered in prayer. And then slowly after that, we started to detox with our food. It was probably 8 months later. I was like, nope, we're done. We're done with all the crap cereal. We're done with fruit snacks and everything. And I think it was a whole process that we've started doing that helped him as well. And I agree with Jeff. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets scanned. And please enjoy Lucas just getting his third meal for the morning.
Is 10 years old and somehow doesn't think we can hear any of that.
Yeah, well, you know. But anyway.
He's well aware it makes noise. He knows it makes noise.
I know. But anyway, we'll end the podcast because we're getting really long here. But please reach out to us if you have any questions. Crunchy Mom and Doubting Dad on Instagram. That's our handle.
We're going to get all sorts of other stuff I've never heard of before with our friend.
What are you talking about?
like all these different things where like you can go in and you have like little chat rooms basically.
Oh, you didn't tell me about that. I don't know.
I didn't tell you about that?
No, we're gonna.
Oh, it sounds really cool. It's like a way that you can
Okay,
like interact with
not
people.
now. This is going
Well, I
super
can't-
long.
yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna learn some new stuff apparently. But like I said, watch your toxins. Maybe start switching out some stuff and see if the anxiety gets better, because your body's going to have to detox that crap.
And for the love of Moses, find time to have a cigar and a Dr. Pepper every day.
There you go.
That's my health advice.
So anyway, we're going to let you go, but thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.